to, you know, extreme diving off a diving board's a, you know, a huge thing for someone with a fear of heights, and he's overcome that very successfully, linked to the regression.
Andrea, can you go forward in a life? I mean, could Charles fast forward through this life and then perhaps put the last couple of years into perspective? Because
Indeed.
what you've been through is a public disgrace in a way, and humiliation and sadness for you. So
I do occasionally take clients to what I call the blueprint for this lifetime, which is the potential to see something in the future, especially if they're having a really hard time in this lifetime and we've gone to the past and there seems to be no things there. They almost need a sort of a soundbite to see that it's going to turn out better in the end.
Faye's watching very interestingly. What do you think, Faye?
I think it's extraordinarily interesting. It might be that the hypnosis releases the inner writer in you. But actually, in a kind of way, you write your own script in which you explain your own fear of heights. So in a way, you're, you know, by virtue of her, you were, as it were, treating yourself and explaining it to yourself. So that, but you surround it with a kind of framework in which it is possible that these things are linked up. I mean, it's just a wonderful narrative.
Yes, indeed.
Well, we're going to take a quick break now. When we come back, we sent our regression detective, Lionel Fanthorpe, off to Croydon on the trail of David Huggett. Things are going to get very interesting. Find out what he discovered in just a minute.
welcome back. Now, before the break, we found out that in a past life, Charles Ingram was David Gordon Huggett, or at least that's what he told us, and he was somehow involved in the military, and he lived in Croydon.
Now, we asked Lionel Fanthorpe, the biker-mad reverend with a nose like a bloodhound, to investigate.
Charles gave us a lot of interesting details during his regression session, but was it his subconscious mind playing tricks, or was he remembering a life he actually lived?
Huggett.
Huggett.
David.
Yeah.
David Gordon.
David Gordon Huggett.
It's in the middle of the Second World War.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in bed at my home.
Where's your home?
Croydon. Croydon? 98. 98 Warden Road. No, cremated in Croydon Crematorium.
So was Charles really David Huggett? Did he live and die in Croydon? There's only one way to find out. Well, there's good news. I'm in Croydon. Well, I found Warden Road and the house he said he lived in, number 98. It's old enough to be the same house, but I still feel it needs more investigating. He also said he died in Croydon and was cremated at Croydon Crematorium. Well, let's have a look. I've looked everywhere, but I can't find a David Huggett. But the plaques are replaced every 10 years, so there could have been one here before. Charles gave us another clue. He was very definite about taking the minutes for a meeting to do with Operation Overlord. This is now the Nigerian embassy, but back in the 1940s it was the Victoria Hotel, used for government meetings. But only those on a need-to-know basis knew exactly what was going on inside. Operation Overlord did exist, but today we refer to it as D-Day. It was the most carefully planned invasion in modern warfare. Charles was right about the house, and he could be right about the crematorium. I'm going to the National Archives to see what I can find out. In front of me are the minutes that Charles believes he took. Well, I don't see a David Huggett, but there is a D.G.O. Ahurst. Could that be our David Gordon? Well, Charles, you got a couple of things right. The house, the planning meeting, and the location of the meeting. These are things only people in the know would know. Maybe Charles was here before.
It's all fascinating stuff. But you're a military man, and so I suppose a skeptic watching would say this is information that you probably would have had.
No, absolutely. And in fact, although at the time of the regression I'd forgotten of the code word Overlord, I have read that in the past and come across that in the past. So I'm not sure how that thought popped into my head, as it were, and then I mentioned it. I don't know what part of my brain, as it were, it came from.
Did you look at any of those buildings and think, oh God, this seems bad?
No, I mean, to my knowledge, I've never been to Croydon, although I could well have driven through on the way to Sutton or Crystal Palace or whatever. And I certainly do not know 98 Whaddon Road, or Whaddon Road for that matter, in any shape or form.
It didn't look familiar to you?
No, not at all. Not in the least. I mean, I think there might be an IKEA in Croydon, but that's about it from a brochure.
The name Huggett as well was your mother's maiden name?
It was, yes, that's right.
So that may have been... Because when you were under hypnosis, did you... Because your conscious brain is still working, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
Did you think to yourself, gosh, am I making this up?
Yeah.
Because I remember very clearly doing that. Did you?
No, I was thinking, where the hell is all this coming from?
Yeah, I was trying not to, and I'm not sure what really I was doing. At the end of the day, the thoughts were popping into my head. I was often conscious, fully conscious. I was more often than not semi-conscious, and on at least 2 occasions I actually fell asleep. And then I
mean,
woke
you'd
up to
think
Andrea's
you
voice.
fell asleep. I mean, the reason...
Well, I think I did.
The reason people are doing regression is, okay, it's great to look at the evidence, but most clients that I regress, I don't care whether they come up with the year they were born, the year they die, their name. That's irrelevant. The whole point is that this is a healing process. This is to heal all kinds of ailments, fears, phobias, irrational behaviour, things they can't understand in their life, relationships with people that they'd love to work out but they can't seem to get there. And then if you understand the relationship often with the soul of that person in the past, you can then improve the relationship in this lifetime with the people. So the complexities of it are never ending, and the things you can heal from it are also never ending. But you can't necessarily do that in just one treatment. Some people you can, some people you don't. But I don't really sort of wonder too much whether the information you come out with is absolutely bona fide or not. If you're healed in spite of it, it doesn't seem to matter. It's nice though that we can investigate and see things, and like with Fern's regression, yours all sort of tied up nicely.
Didn't use there, or the name a person would. Faye, what do you make of all that? Now you've seen that and seen some of the physical evidence, hard evidence, if it is evidence.
It's very convincing, isn't it? I mean, I'm slightly worried about how you would know, if you were in that past life, how you would know you had been cremated unless...
But
perhaps it doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter. It's hard to explain unless you've actually gone through the regression process to understand how your thoughts and feelings are at the time. But you come to me, or my clients come to me, because they've got things they don't understand and want to change and improve in their lives. And that's why majority of the regressions you'll see will be people who've had unhappy lives, because they're the resolving issues they've got to try and resolve in this lifetime. If you haven't got any issues, then you'll maybe go back to a happy life.
I can see that. I mean, people think they're Cleopatra. I mean, normally, if you think of regression, you think of people who believe they were Napoleon or believe they were Cleopatra, but never the serving maid. Do you know, never the serving maid.
That was
but I
interesting.
think it's different in this, isn't it?
Yes, it is, because I was a real, a peasant. I had no money at all.
So it's not wishful thinking.
So it certainly wasn't wishful thinking. No, I thought I was going to be, sort of Tutankhamun. Most disappointing.
There's one more thing I'd like to say. You say you had a daughter called Helen who married a man called Paul Radcliffe.
Yes.
And if there is a Helen Radcliffe who used to live at 98 Whaddon Road, Croydon, do let us know. Now, Andrea also regressed our John Scott, and you can see that film next week. But here is a little preview of that.
What year is it?
1811.
Do you know what year you were born?
No.
But it's 1811, the year that you get married. And what's your...
18, I'm 18.
You're 18,
Yeah.
and it's 1811.
Yeah.
And what is your surname?
I want to say Smith, but it doesn't sound right.
What's Emily's surname before she marries you?
I don't know.
So it's 1811 and it's the day that you get married in Ampleford.
Is that amazing? Well, we're checking out John's story as we speak, and it is another cracker. Make sure you tune in for that next week. Thank you all very much indeed. Thank you.
Thanks, Charles. At least we cured your fear of heights anyway.
Yeah, good luck with the diving. Yeah.
And Faye, thank you very much for staying as well. Thanks,
Thank
Andrea.
you.
Now, we've got to take a break for the news.